Hello, everyone. It's 1 o'clock on a Tuesday, and I am so happy to have you here with me once again. Today is very exciting. So a couple of things that have happened. Yesterday, my husband and I were working together all day and brainstorming, and I really wanted my talk show here that you've been tuning into to have a name. So we went over some stuff, and then all of a sudden, at the same time, we both said, get to know. And then we went, get to know her. And we loved it. And I love it. And I hope you love it too, because that's really what this is all about. I want to introduce you to the business women that I know who are really making a difference out there, who have inspired me. And I want to share that with all of you. So today, get ready to get to know the amazing Sarah Turl. She is a wonderful person. Her company is Empowered Results Mediation. And she is going to talk us through how maybe a lot of us are feeling right now. The world seems to be getting smaller. We're all, sharing the same four walls with our families and or a significant other. And it's not always easy every day. So these are not normal circumstances we're living under. There are ways to get through this, and Sarah is the person who is going to help us with that. So I'm so excited to bring Sarah on. I'm going to bring her out of the green room and on screen with us. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
How are you? Great. Oops, Boink's happy to see you.
I love Boink.
You know what? I never bring her because I don't want her to interrupt. And what do you know? But I thought for Sarah, I have to bring Boink. And there we go. First 2 seconds, she's already barking.
Oh, I miss petting Boink and rubbing her tummy.
I know. So I feel like I need to introduce you on a friendship level. First of all, because I met Sarah through Busy Women, the networking group that we both belong to. And anyway, Sarah came to my place of business like 2 weeks after she met me, just came in and surprised me one day at the studio, brought her beautiful dog. Did you bring Walter the first time? Maybe not the first time he came.
I like to make you guys welcome first.
Right, that's right. So the first time you came, Boink got all your love. So we connected as dog moms. The second visit, Sarah brought her dog. Sarah also really, like, you've given so much love to my mama. You come in and you visit with her, and when my mom's been here at the studio, and Sarah and her husband, they make their own maple syrup. Sarah's like dropped off maple syrup for us. It just goes on and on. So Sarah and I kind of got to know each other, but I wouldn't say we knew each other really well. And then something magical happened in January. We both decided to go on a trip to Cuba with our Busy Women group. And it was like we were like a couple of magnets. You couldn't get us away from each other. We spent every hour together pretty much for those 4 days in Cuba. And we had the best time, and we had so many great talks and just enjoyed that trip so much. And I realized that trip, what a special person you are, Sarah, and all the good you do for people. You're amazing.
We sort of fell in friendship love, like we knew each other.
We totally did. Yeah.
And then we got to know each other even better. And speaking of friendship love, look what came in the mail. So I had to wear it.
Aww.
Monica, being the amazing person she is, she sent me this beautiful necklace because she knows my ears aren't pierced. And she knows what like that I'm kind of simple. So thank you. So
you're welcome.
It's got the water. It's hard to see, I think. But
it's kind of Cuba-ish.
Yeah, it reminded me of Cuba with the blue for the ocean.
Yeah.
And we spent a lot of time in the water, even though it was a little chilly when you first jumped in, but
yeah,
it was so nice.
It was so great. And the highlight for me was when you took your brand new camera, your brand new phone, I should say, that your husband gave you for Christmas. And you said, Mom, I need, oh boy, He said, Mon, I need you to jump in the waves again like you did yesterday. And I said, oh, okay. And I went in there and I did this jump, and I need to blow that picture up and put it in my studio because it makes me so happy. That was a
You know what's
great day.
awesome though? It got all the other ladies jumped in the ocean. We got a whole bunch of ladies in the waves. So
We did.
you inspired everybody.
Aw, that's good. We've got to bring out the 13-year-old girl always,
Yep.
right? Yep. Very important. So, Sarah, what a crazy time we're living in right now. A lot of people at home with their families, and or you and I are in the same boat. We have our husband and our dogs.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just not natural really to be around each other so often. Now, I know your husband, he's back at work. Is it part-time or full-time that he's back?
Well, technically full time, but he's a
Yeah,
pilot, so
right.
he's home, and I love him very much. I don't know how people live and work together. I actually
Mm-hmm.
came to my co-working space today just to get not a break from him because I love him very much, but he's
Yeah.
home. We hit the bickering stage. I think we've moved past it. We were good. I was like, I love being home with Jared and the dog, and we live in the country. We had to make maple syrup. There was lots to do, and then when that was all done, we started bickering a little, and now we've moved out of it. So I'm in the same
Wow.
boat as everyone else with being stuck at home with people I really love, but don't necessarily want to be with all the time.
Right,
Normal,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, totally normal. And you and I were kind of joking around when we talked about having our chat today about maybe five talking about 5 ways to tick off your family members. What are some things you would suggest not doing during this time, Sarah?
Uh, well, it's a good time to maybe take stock of ourselves and how we're achieving. Not necessarily a good time to take stock of your partner or whoever's in the house and going
Mm-hmm.
through what they are achieving or not achieving. Probably not a good time to start, doing an employee review or a coworker review. Terrible idea. Although I have
Yeah.
to say mine gets an A+ because he feeds me every day. So
Oh,
if I had to give him
fantastic.
a review, but yeah,
Yeah.
we're all stressed out and we're all confused and we're all scared, and so not remembering that someone else is also stressed out and scared and confused and expecting them to somehow rise above what we're all going through and be better than what you're expecting of yourself is an easy way to have conflict.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up because I find too, I feel overwhelmed right now. Like there's so much that, I see people doing great things at home and I think I should be doing that, but I'm coming to my studio and I'm just trying to keep it all together here because even though, it's a different kind of busy, I'm still very busy. I'm doing everything myself now, whereas I had, contract help before. But I will do that. Like I will say to Wayne, if you're feeling like you're in a rut, if I were you, I would clean out the garage. I would attack the basement, the boxes in the basement. And I do that. Like I give him a list of the things that I think are going to make him feel better. But now that you've said that, I realize like I'm actually just projecting what's stressing me out, with the stuff that I'm not dealing with.
Yeah, it's hard, right? I mean, we're human
Yeah.
beings. We're in a weird time. You think you're helping, and sometimes you are. I mean, it's not wrong to want things of your partner, but it's a weird time.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, what are some of the ways? Have you been talking to people who are struggling right now, Sarah? Like, is there anything that kind of stands out where people are really having a tough time? Maybe in
Yeah,
a family environment or with kids at home?
there's a couple. I've noticed a lot of people are struggling with working with their partner. You're both working from home but not together, but
Mm-hmm.
also balancing homeschool seems to be a really big one. And then you've got a lot of adult, but young adult kids who have come home from college and maybe are missing their graduations or are trying to struggle to finish their school years or didn't plan on coming home, but now and so they're trying to navigate these relationships with their parents that are different than the relationship. And that's always stressful when it happens in normal times. And now people are doing it not on their own terms. So things are a little weird. And then a lot of coworkers are disagreeing with each other from a distance because they're not in contact with each other in normal ways. And again, they're stressed out. So we're not at our best when we're stressed out, and that's okay.
Yeah. You know, I really, I love some of the analogies that you have. There's this where you talk about resolving conflict, and there's a really great video on your Facebook page where you talk about a tree in your backyard.
I love that tree.
Yeah, it's a beautiful tree. So the tree is bent, like completely bent. I'm trying to see if there's anything I can, it's not growing straight up. It's like whoosh, completely bent. Yeah, and your analogy to that tree, it really talked a lot to expectations, and you know, that when people are stressed out or in conflict, things are not always going in one direction. Like you have to look at all this.
When you disagree, nothing's linear. And I also like to use the analogy. Sometimes I feel a little Dr. Phil-ish when I'm like, here's an analogy.
That's okay.
But it's sort of like I use the traffic app Waze. Well, I did back when there was traffic.
Yeah.
If Waze tells me that there's a traffic jam ahead, I plan another route. I work around the traffic jam. I don't stubbornly just go, no, this is my way home and sit in traffic. So,
right.
You know, if someone's telling you, hey, maybe we need to divert to be able to solve this, and you just go, no, this is my way. We don't do that with anything else. Why are we doing that when we're doing it when we're in conflict because we don't mean to, but it's the same thing, right? We need to be adaptable and flexible. And when you hear the information, sometimes we hear new information. We don't know everything. So when someone gives you new information that says, hey, pull off the 401, pull off the 401. You don't have to say, no, I don't need new information. None of us know everything. So when people give you new information about something you're disagreeing about or a difficult conversation, it's the same thing. Take the new information and adapt and change. And that's what that tree did. It was growing up. For some reason, I don't know. The tree's been there. It's probably older than me. It arced, and then it went right across the path, and then it grew up. So it just found a way. It said, this way's not working for me. What can I do? And I love seeing that in nature, and it reminds me that we can do that too, because we're so adaptable when we're willing to be. But we've got to be is the key.
That's right. And you talk a lot about listening as well. Which is really important, to listen to the other person, because I think that's part of that linear thinking as well, where you're like, I'm going to stand my ground. I got it all figured out, you know, and just when that person sees that you're listening, then you're going to be heard by them as well. So
yeah, the quality of what people tell you depends entirely on the quality of your listening. So if you aren't listening and people know you're ready to jump in and just ram your perspective down their throats, they're not going to give you the information to help you get around it, because what's the point? You're not listening to them. So when you listen well, people will give you more information. People will open up. People will be vulnerable. And that's we're always waiting for the pause to jump in and fill it with our perspective or our meanings. But here's a cool thing about when someone else pauses and when you're really listening. If they pause, they expect you to jump in, right? It's just the way we are. When you don't, they will start talking some more because we're super uncomfortable with silence. So what ends up happening is you get some really good insight and intelligence after that pause, because they start giving you the more that you need, because they thought you were going to jump in, and when you don't, they will. So it works well in negotiations. It works well in negotiating problem solving and disagreements, because listen, ask questions. Don't assume you know one of the biggest things I get is people go, yeah, I know what they're going to say. I already know what their excuse is. I know. And most of the time they actually don't know. They've just
Right.
projected that they know. And when I make space for them to listen, and I know it's hard to do when you're angry, which is where I come in. When people have the space to actually tell you what's going on, you always get new information. Listening is so valuable to everything we do, and we're not taught to listen. There's lots of public speaking courses. I'm actually facilitating one right now. There's not a lot of public listening workshops, right? We know when our kids learn to talk. If you have kids, we don't know when our kids learn to be great active listeners. We don't celebrate listening the way we should, because so many answers are actually found in our ears and not in our mouths. That's why there's double the amount.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And you know what, Sarah, this whole idea of listening, now that the way that you're saying it's so powerful, because I think, like you said, when we're kids, we're taught, like, you need to stand up for yourself, right? And then it's sort of like stand up for yourself means get defensive and tell the other person where you stand. So you're right. It's all of this verbalizing. And then as you get older and you have to confront people about certain things, the anxiety rises, because all you're doing is reciting, well, if they say this, I'm going to say this back. If they say this, I'm going to say it. So this defensiveness, it causes all this anxiety. But what you're saying is so empowering, to just go into it like, I don't have to say anything. All I have to do is listen.
Yeah, you get into a cycle
right?
of attack, defend, right? Your brain just naturally, someone says you did something, hey, you dropped the ball on a project. Your natural thing to do is go, no, I didn't, you did, right? And because you want to protect yourself. But what works really well is to go, how do you think I did that? And ask a question and then start listening. You might find out that you did drop the ball a little bit, or if they're going to be a good listener too, they're going to ask you, where were you struggling on this? And when you start talking, then you can find gaps and fill them. We don't listen nearly enough. And sometimes we need help listening, because again, when we're frustrated, or when we're hurt, it's really hard to listen. You want to make sure that you get heard, but hearing the other person usually makes them we all mirror each other, right? So if I start listening to you, odds are you're going to listen to me, because one, societal demands are that you kind of have to, but two, we just naturally mirror each other. And so if I've given you the time to get your perspective out and to really probe it, you're going to feel that you have to reciprocate and do the same for me. And that's when you can actually have a productive conversation. But it's hard to do.
Yeah.
I understand that. I'm always telling people these things, and I'm easy to say, hard to do, but it's a practice. It's something you've got to work on. Practice listening when it doesn't matter. Not that it doesn't matter, but when it's not hard, so that when it is hard, because we do it all day, we jump in. We fill pauses all day. We're assuming things, and practice, where you can, so that when it's hard, you're better at it.
Right. And also, I love the idea of asking questions, because I think that's sometimes, and especially when it's a sensitive topic, or where there's a confrontation, sometimes you're afraid of the answers. So, you
don't ask.
So you don't ask. You just assume is easier than asking, right?
Yeah. But if you go into it with a beginner's mindset, what is kind of fun for me when I facilitate difficult conversations is that I legitimately don't know any answers. So I can ask as if I have no idea. Well, that won't work. Well, why won't that work? Can you explain to me the specifics of why that won't work? And then they start talking, and now I'm listening to why it won't work. And I can start hearing, oh, maybe they're right on that. Or you can really start to, here's their sticking point. Okay, well, what if we took that and we did this, and now we're problem solving? Going from a beginner's mindset, instead of assuming most of the time you don't know their intentions, and you don't know their perspectives, and you don't know their experiences. So listening and asking those questions and genuinely being curious, even when you're hurt or like really frustrated, be curious about why someone did what they did or said what they said, and they'll start giving you the information you need to figure out. You don't have all the information. We never have all the information on one side. So asking questions and then actually listening to the answers, and not asking questions like that sort of support your argument and lead them to like, why are you such a jerk? You know,
that's on the top 5 don't do. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
If you want to get into a good screaming match, why are you such a jerk is probably a really good one.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. So families right now. Yeah, families with kids, like and homeschooling, like that's all of that stuff, like we were saying before, that's a challenge. Is there any way that you can sort of recommend that parents can break through to their kids, like, you know, brother and sisters bickering back and forth and all that stuff that
I think we need to remember that kids are going through this as well. They may not be going through it with the same level of understanding, but they're still going through it. Even if they're 17, they're still missing out on, I think proms have all been canceled.
yeah.
Or if they're in grade 8, they're not getting their graduation. If they're in grade 4, they're not getting the support they need from teachers, because teachers, not knock against teachers, how are teachers supposed to have, 30 different question and answer periods a day for kids? It's tough for everybody. So I think remembering, blanket grief. I think remembering that those kids of all ages are going through the stress as well. And the whole idea of you projecting, well, this is easy, why don't you just do it? Hey, Wayne, why don't you just clean the garage? It's the same thing, right? Where they need to get it done, but we need to remember that they're doing it through a state of anxiety as well. We need to remember my favorite prop, which is Marsha.
Yes.
We need to remember that we as parents, not we as parents, because I am not one, but the people who are parents have, this is Marsha. She's Marsha Mallow. We all have soft, squishy insides. So we walk around usually with hard candy coatings, right? We're bumping around, we're protecting ourselves. And kids are doing the same, only their marshmallows are a lot more exposed. They haven't quite developed that shell yet. We're all soft and squishy and vulnerable on the inside. So we need to remember that the person teaching the homeschooling has a marshmallow, and they're stressed and they're frustrated and they're overwhelmed, but have to remember to talk to the student's marshmallow, because that marshmallow is also overwhelmed. And it doesn't necessarily make it easier to get them to sit down and do it. But if you take a second, take a breath, and remember that they're struggling too, they may not know how to vocalize it. Even adults don't know how to vocalize that they're anxious or stressed out. They just think they're angry. It can really help. It's taking breaths. It's remembering that person that's driving you bananas. You just want them to do their math, and they won't do their math. Well, ask them why. Go right back to listening. Why won't you do your math? And I know it's hard with a 6-year-old. Why don't you want to do math? But even a 6-year-old can tell when you're listening and when you're not listening. So it's that whole idea. Ask them the questions about what's holding them back in this. Why don't they want to do that? Maybe they need to go at it in a different order. Maybe you need to do English first or whatever it is. Just listen and actually ask what's going on, because man, it's hard for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also, that whole feeling of overwhelm, right? Like this morning, I reminded myself when COVID first happened, I was really regimented with doing like a daily meditation, and the meditation was on focus, and it helped me to organize my day, right? And to just have some space to do what I needed to do. And then I kind of drifted from that. I haven't been doing it for over a week. And the weekend I had like all these anxious thoughts, and I felt like, what's going on? What do I have to do? And I was snappy with Wayne. And, it's taking that time for the self-care as well, right? And I would imagine that, again, is hard when you have kids around, but to somehow take time for yourself every day,
Yeah.
just to breathe, like you say, and
Yeah,
yeah.
I really feel, especially for single parents who are trying to navigate working and homeschooling on their own, that's hard. That's so hard. And I hope they give themselves grace and
Mm-hmm.
understand that they don't have to. But then again, society, you look online and everyone's only posting pictures of their perfect homeschool schedule and their perfect loaf of bread they made while they were doing English class. And
Yeah.
give yourself some grace and give everyone else some grace if they're not making bread, or if they're not
Yeah.
doing their English homework. I did nothing yesterday. I think I put maybe 5 pieces in a puzzle I'm working on. I started with the world's hardest puzzle. So I maybe put 5 pieces in the puzzle. I napped with the dog. I did nothing. Yesterday was a write-off of a day, but I needed it.
Great.
So
And it was a holiday. You should have a write-off of a day on a
yeah.
holiday.
It was a pretty bad day in terms of I napped so much during the day. I was up really late last night because I just couldn't sleep because I was so well rested. But yeah, it's so hard. I feel for people that don't have the space to do that. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how if your kid's getting more screen time, your kid's getting more screen time, right? If your spouse is giving them more screen time than you would like them to have, maybe that's a conversation you have, but not in the moment of the screen time.
Yeah.
Wait till you're calmer and then have it, but show them grace
Right.
too. Everyone's navigating through. And
Yeah, that's really good, Sarah. And I think that is something that, we all need to keep in perspective. Like, this is not normal what we're going through. And of course, I mean, we're all fighting for normal, right? And you can't, like, you kind of do need to go with the flow. A good friend of mine, she said, my daughter gets her schoolwork, and I know that between 2 and 4 o'clock, she's done. Like, there is no school after 2. The attention span's gone, everything. And she said, and I don't push it. We just start again the next day. Like, that we striving for excellence right now is that's a lot of pressure.
well, and excellence looks different for everybody, right? Listen, I straightened at least the front of my hair. The
I
back, not
love.
so much. It's my COVID mullet, as my sister called it. Straight hair in the front, bit curly in the back. It's a big victory for me today. I put on adult clothes and left the house. So
Oh,
if that's my win for the day, that's okay.
yeah,
I'd like to do better, but that's on me. It's not on anyone else to tell me if I've succeeded or failed. But after
for
yesterday,
sure.
heck, just being clean is a win today.
I know, it's so funny. I do this thing where, like, Monday, usually I do my groceries on Monday, and then Monday night I have like the epic shower, like the good hair wash and everything, because I've been at the grocery store. And then Tuesday I'm feeling good, and then I put pressure on myself. Okay, if you're going to shoot any video or do anything like that, it's got to be on Tuesday afternoon, or it's got to be like during the day on Wednesday, because after Wednesday you're not going to look so great again. And then I'm thinking I could take another shower where I wash my hair.
But why would
I
you?
could, but why would my hair is so healthy now, washing it once a week.
I know they say that
Yeah,
people wash their hair too much. So
yeah,
but I think you have
that's
to, because I had to train my hair to not get, because I was not washing it a lot before. Not that I'm dirty, but my hair,
yeah,
it's pretty thick. You have to
yeah.
train your hair to
Same.
not get washed every day. But once you do, your hair loves
Oh,
not being washed every day.
it's true. You and I think we
You
have the
can
same.
wash you, just for the record. You can still wash
Yeah,
you with
yeah, exactly.
your hair.
We encourage that, especially if you live with someone.
Yeah, there's a way to make them angry right there. Although this is a secret between you and me.
Oh, okay. Nobody's
I've
listening.
I've been detoxing off deodorant for the last 3 months. Because why would I put it on? I put it on today because I'm out and about. I'll put it on if I'm going to the grocery store. But if I'm just hanging around the house,
Great. You know what? I was thinking, because I use Secret, I have for years, but I thought this is a perfect time to try to like do a transition to a natural product.
Yeah,
Get your body used to it.
I switched to a natural one, and there is a bit of a sort of switch to get into it. Perfect time to, but then I was like, why did I did the detox, and then I started using it and it was working great, but then I thought, why?
Why bother?
Why bother? So no one's going to want to be near me. But if I'm near people, I make sure I'm clean. But I love No Pong. It's a Canadian natural one. So highly recommend.
What's it called?
No Pong. Pong.
No okay. Pong. No Pong. I'll have to check that one out.
Comes in a little tin that would actually be handy for holding beads and clasps.
Oh,
the glam jewelry.
Perfect. Thing. I can, double duty. I like it. Now, you know what else I saw on your Facebook page, Sarah? That it was very good. No, this is great. You are offering people something really amazing right now, a 1-hour consult on the bubble, because other provinces are now. Actually, you tell us your wording. I liked how you did. And there's a beautiful photo of you blowing this big bubble.
I worked so hard on that. My sister's a photographer, so I'm really lucky with my images, but obviously no Trina. So but I'm always cognizant of what she would want me to do. So that bubble picture, I think, took me an hour.
For sure. I looked at it and I thought, oh my God, this would have taken a while to get that perfect shot. Yeah.
I was actually surprised our government didn't allow us to double bubble, because other provinces have. I think Nova Scotia has, Saskatchewan has. And a double bubble is just, what's the other household that you can go into? So for you, knowing how close your mom is it going to be your mom? For me, is it going to be my sister? Is it going to be good friends of ours? Who you can't double bubble with everybody. The point of expanding the bubble slowly is that you need to pick another family or household, and they pick you, and you have to agree that, okay, this is our bubble now. We can go in each other's homes and see each other, but I have to trust that you're not bubbling with anyone else, and you have to trust that. So you have to have that hard conversation of, hey, I need to trust that you're not going to bubble up with someone else and triple bubble. And then it's easy for me. Obviously, it's my sister. She's got 2 kids who I love to pieces. And I also miss my sister. Like, we're together a lot. So for me, it's an easy choice. But if I had 2 sisters and they were both nearby, my parents are 4 hours north. So it's not them just from proximity.
Right.
But for some people, they've got to make, if you're a parent and one child has young kids and you'd like to be able to help out those young kids, and your other child has teenage kids, how do you have that conversation of, well, I'm going to double bubble with them and not you, and choosing, and there's going to be hurt feelings maybe. It's a hard conversation to have. Or what if it's someone you just think, hey, let's bubble up, and you don't trust them, right? I don't think I want you in my bubble right now, which is fair, but what a weird conversation to have. What a difficult conversation to have. So I thought, people are feeling sort of economically unstable right now, so uncertainties and all of that. So I wanted to offer people the opportunity to have those bubble conversations, either as a mediator. Really, I'm just refereeing those difficult conversations. I ask questions, and I make people listen when they're too stressed out to listen, and I help them ask questions. Or I can even help preparing in advance. If you think there's going to be one, we can plan out how you're going to do that. We can sort of talk about perspectives and all that. So I wanted to do that. So bubble conversations right now, I'm offering them for $27 for an hour of virtual bubble talk.
That's great.
In that 1 hour, we can work through a lot of bubble talk. I'm not a therapist. We're not delving into why your stepmom drives you bananas and you're choosing another house, but we'll talk about how you can have the conversation productively and kindly of, yes, let's bubble, but here's what I need from you to let you in my bubble. Because what a weird conversation to have.
Yeah, it is a crazy, and it's so good that you're putting it out there to help people with that, because we have good friends who are together, and they are both divorced, so they brought kids into their marriage, And so that kind of bubble talk had to happen pretty early on because the kids still wanted to see each other, but they had to trust the exes now that they were also safe and that kids could safely go back and forth. And, you know, in a lot of cases, people don't have a good relationship with their ex. Like they just, you know, the kid gets dropped off and the two people don't communicate. So yeah, they're
and some people want no bubbles, right? Some people are like, no, I don't want to double my bubble. I want to keep my bubble just me. I think that's what your decision is with your mom, right? You're not breaking her bubble.
No, I don't. So there's a couple things. So first of all, one of my main things is going into her building because she lives in a condo and there's a lot of older folks in there, and I wouldn't want to be in there. You know, I don't want to pose myself as a threat to any of them. Yeah. And it's just sort of, it's tough because, you know, obviously we'd love to scoop my mom up and take her up north to her cottage.
She's so huggable too, right? Like you just I would want to. I'd like to. She's so sweet.
She is, but she's very patient as well. And we just saw her over the weekend because it was Wayne's birthday, and we brought folding chairs and we all sat 6 feet across. And you know, my mom was born the first day of World War II, right? She's seen some crap in her life, and so she copes really well through this by sort of relating back to that, where she just says, you know what? Nothing is as bad as a war. And if this is going to be normal for us for a year or so, then that's what we do. But we're not estranged from each other. We're not, you know, well, obviously we're worried about our lives because of COVID, but, you know, it's not like we've got soldiers knocking on our door and you know, that kind of stuff. So my mom is very, very good that way with keeping things in perspective, to looking at what she's experienced in her own life. But and it also is great for me because I think about that as well. When I feel really stressed, I go, oh yes, but nothing is as bad as this. And I feel grateful again, instead of going down the rabbit hole of this isn't fair and why are we living through this and blah, 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 right? That's not productive.
My grandmother and my great aunt lived in London during the Blitz, and my grandmother wouldn't talk about it much, but my great aunt, she's still alive, has some insane stories about, you know, when you turned 17, I believe it was, you had to do war work. You either, even as a woman, you joined the military or you did war work. And her mom, my great aunt tried to join the army, and my great grandmother wouldn't let her. But she did things like creating the depth things for submarines, but she was also worked as an air raid warden. So when they thought they lived near an airfield, and she said, you know, you could see based on the weather whether it was going to be a bad night or not for bombing. And they would turn all the lights off in London and it was her job, her responsibility to walk around in the pitch black night as an 18-year-old woman and make sure no one was on the street. Because, so yeah, can I sit home and watch Netflix a little bit? I think so.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, they went through some hard stuff. I mean, but the problem is we're going through hard stuff too. So I don't want to minimize it, but and there are some people that are not in situations where they're at home with a loving husband, and so it's hard. But I like you know, I don't want to. Even if I could see my parents right now, I don't think I would either, because I want to keep them alive for as long as possible, and I don't want there to be any risk. So I don't think I'd double my bubble with them either. It's a hard decision even for me to see my sister, because it's scary. So if people don't want to double their bubble with you, don't mock them for being afraid. There's, you know, a lot of people right now are mocking people for being afraid, or mocking them from being too cautious, or mocking them for not being afraid, right? Where you can't win. So just let everyone have their way.
Actually, that's a great point, Sarah. Like, what would be your advice on handling people who mock you for being afraid? Because I think that's trending right now as things are opening up.
There's a couple of things you can do. One, Facebook has a mute feature, a snooze for 30 days. If you find somebody that you love and maybe in normal times are okay with, but are just tired of seeing them post, just mute them. They don't know. And then you won't see their stuff. And then you're protecting them from your frustration and you're protecting yourself. I've muted a few people. I still love them, but I don't need to see their opinions on Bill Gates, which is a whole other topic.
Oh boy. Yeah.
But again, ask questions. It's why if you were to ask me, why are you so afraid? You're overreacting. I'm 43. People think I'm healthy. So why am I so afraid? If people took the time to actually ask me that, we could talk about an underlying heart condition I have and sort of a scare I had about a year ago. I'm actually writing a blog post about it. But when you look at me and when you just know me, you don't realize that I have this fear of, especially because COVID and heart stuff, they don't go together well. So there are a lot of people who have fears like that you don't know about. We don't know everything about everybody. So why are we assuming that we know, or they may have an immune compromised grandparent or parent or child? We don't know. So why they might have every reason to be afraid. So it's hard. But on the other hand, you might have people that, one, don't know they have underlying health conditions and think they're healthy. That was me a year ago, and I am healthy. I'm fine. We just got to work through some tests, but that don't know they have underlying health conditions, or that are actually healthy and feel that they need income to support. They may be worried about losing their homes right now. So it's hard for me to be angry at them for saying, let's get started, because they don't have the perspective of the fear that I might have. And they may have financial insecurity that, I mean, I sort of understand, but not to the same degree. So we have to remember that we're all living through different experiences of this. And we shouldn't mock anybody for whether they're afraid or whether they're not afraid, because we don't know. I have friends who've had heart transplants. Should we make fun of them? Should we respect that and maybe they're not afraid. I don't know, but that's up to them and their decisions. And if you're not afraid, that's fine. I respect that you think you're healthy and that you can get through this. I don't respect some of the conspiracy theories, but again, I just mute them, because picking your battles is important, and you're not going to change your mind through any kind, especially communicating via written text is not a good way to communicate disagreements. So don't get into those Facebook battles, because no one's ever changed someone's mind over a Facebook post. So don't. Yeah. Just don't.
Just don't go there.
Yeah. I mean, people saying you're foolish for not wanting to see your mom, but you love your mom so much that you want to keep her healthy and safe. And so just don't recognize that everyone's got an underlying issue, whether it's economic or uncertainty or health, or you don't know. So we shouldn't be mocking anyone. If someone's mocking you for that, share with them the impact of what I always say, when someone says you've done something to me, you have to then tell them what the impact of what they've done to you is, because they might not have had bad intentions. They might have just thought they were sharing some news. And when you say, when you did this, it impacted me in this way, it made me feel foolish for being afraid, it made me feel belittled for my issues, they may go, oh, I didn't mean to do that, sorry. So always share the impact of the action if you have to have the conversation about it. And then maybe people will be a little more understanding and not so mocking. Yeah,
that's great advice, Sarah. And you're right. Yeah, it goes both ways.
Yeah, it's nice to be, did I freeze or did you freeze? One of us froze. And I think was it you? Yeah, did you freeze?
Yeah, you know what? The internet so we've frozen a couple times. I'll tell you something. At the studio here, when it's windy, the internet, I don't know if you can hear the wind up where you are, but when it gets windy here, it sounds like I have a witch in the back.
Really?
You hear like, woo, woo. Oh. So I have to close this door, or all you'll hear is her yelling back there. And but the internet kind of goes, yeah, I should name her.
Yeah. Well, if it
Yeah.
makes you feel better when it's windy, because we live in the country, it's why I came into co-working. Because when it's windy, we usually don't have any internet.
Yeah.
But you've got to name your wind witch. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wendy.
Wendy the Wind Witch.
The Wind Witch.
That sounds good.
I like naming things. I name everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I like marshmallow.
I know. I think the other option that was on the table was Stu Puffed from Ghostbusters.
Oh, yeah.
So I did a poll to see when I got it, because I found her. There's this great little shop in Acton that sells crocheted food. They sell other stuff. It's a little art shop. But they sell lots of crocheted food. And
hilarious.
I walked in, and Marsha was there, and she came with a stick. I've lost her stick, but it was just like a little. She's crocheted. She's small business. She was $5, and I walked in and I went, well, yes, obviously, because I talk about marshmallows all the time. This is fate. Yeah. She must be mine. Her cheeks are even a little flushed. So then I thought, well, but I can't name her. Everyone else needs to name her. But Marsha was the winner. I
love it. And I thought you had her custom made, so she was just there waiting for you. You know, she's gorgeous in all her photo shoots, I have to say.
Again, photographer's sister. Yeah. Trina did an amazing job of she took one picture. Marsha's white, I keep her in a bag so she doesn't get dirty.
Yeah.
And she's on a white table with a white background, and Marsha, and somehow Trina gave her so much soul and depth and character, and I don't know how.
How does she do that?
Creators like you and your, creating sort of a Cuba and all the other, you create this beauty, and you take things and space, and you create this. Your brain works in a way that says, I can fill this space with these beautiful things in this way, and you create beautiful stuff. And she does the same, and I have no ability to do that. Which is okay. She got the artistic ones. I'm creative and thinking. She's creative thinker too. But she created such beautiful Marsha photos. So
they're beautiful.
Break the bubble just so I can get more Marsha.
Yeah, pictures. And did I tell you your sister came to my rescue during COVID? She gave me some nice photography tips because I was struggling with my flat lays. And you know what she said? She goes, you get beautiful light from your window. Take a mirror and angle it so that the beads will sparkle more, and then take your photo from above. And now it's funny because I'm always trying to balance myself with the mirror, and I'm like, but I think of her every time. I'm like, this is so great. And it just adds a little twinkle. It's wonderful. So
it's those little, if I was talking to her now, she would tell me to put a white piece of paper under my face, because here's me with some Trina advice.
Right.
It'll bounce the light up a little. Things I would never I don't know, right? So it's
I need to try that too.
Yeah. So just put light underneath, it'll bounce it.
Look at world of difference. I'm covering my necklace, but
I love how you two just create from not from nothing, but I'm so in awe of the creative process that you have. And what do you? I'm curious. I don't know if anyone's asked you this. I've watched a bunch. What's sort of your process when you look? How did you create this? How did it come to be?
So it's crazy. When I'm creating something, I have to really I need silence. I have to focus. And then it's almost like it just comes in. I feel like I would never credit myself for what I create because it feels superhuman. It doesn't feel like it's coming from me ever. That's
so cool.
Yeah. It's really because it's not a knowing, it's a feeling. So I can't even describe. And a lot of times I have no idea how things are going to turn out. So someone will say, can you design this and this? It's for this occasion. And and I ask them a few questions about themselves. and then all those elements get worked in somehow. And I can't even describe it. It just happens.
But you're asking the questions and listening, right? You're creating.
Yes.
That's so cool. I wish
Yeah.
I actually brought a piece of art because I remember I told you I was bad at art.
Oh yes, let's see the art.
It's actually hangs on my office wall. My
is
dog
this the
has
is this the art that is this the art that you texted? Remember we were on what were we on, Facebook Messenger together, and you were doing a little video of.
No.
Oh, okay, that's a different piece of art.
I intentionally sat down with a friend. We decided to have a wine and paint night at my house, and we took this honky pig dog toy that my dog has. It's a pink pig that honks when you squeeze it. And this is how bad I am at art. This is my version of the honky pig. And that's a fence.
Wow, Sarah.
It's why I'm so in awe of your creativity and ability to take something and create it, because I hang it in my office because I want to be proud of myself for being out of my comfort zone, and it makes me laugh, but it's so bad.
I think it's great. What do your nieces say? Have they seen it?
I'm not sure they've seen it, but a lot of people think they did it when they come in. They're like, oh, you see, because they have their art everywhere because they're a little artist. But no, this is, I would have been probably 41. This is about 2 years old. When
wow.
Not childhood art.
Oh, it's fantastic. I thought it was a little bit Cuba inspired, but this is pre-Cuba.
It's pre-Cuba. It's so
gorgeous. I could make you a necklace inspired by that little piggy. I love it. The honky pig. So you know what? I have a question for you, Sarah, that was going to be my start off with question, but now we'll do it at the end. As a kid growing up, I'm sure you didn't know what a mediator was. So this is probably not something that you always wanted to do when you grew. What did you want to be when you were a kid, and how did you end up doing this? What led you here?
Oh, well, it actually is weirdly linear in a non-linear way. So I'm the daughter of a librarian and a journalist. And at the time, my dad was in television and did the 6 o'clock news. And I always wanted to get into advertising. I used to make, Trina and I would be brushing our teeth to go to bed, and I would make her turn it into a toothbrush commercial. We'd be eating cereal, and I'd turn it into a cereal commercial. And so I thought I wanted to be a copywriter and create commercials. And then sometimes I thought I wanted to be a journalist because I loved writing, but they're sort of the same feel, right? This creation of content. So I went to school for advertising and marketing and learned all that jazz, and then thought about going to post-grad for copywriting, and realized at the time especially that I didn't have the thick enough skin to put my heart and soul into content to only have people say, oh, try again, it's terrible. So I got into the account side of managing or marketing, and eventually ended up doing branded content at CTV, co-branded content. So if you ever watch CP2 for breakfast in the morning, they still drink out of my McDonald's cups. So I started, it was kind of neat because it let me use my version of creativity. I'd get briefs from clients and say, hey, we have these coffee cups. What can you do for them in your shows? And it was my job to think of how we could integrate different products in different shows and then make it happen. And so then I also had to execute. So I was spending a lot of time also managing them. They still don't. They don't let Amazing Race producers and banks actually talk, right? They do talk, but the producers want good TV. The bank wants advertisements in the show because that's what they paid for. But the viewers, it has to be good TV or no one watches it. So there's that balance of how do we make a good TV, but how do we fit product integrations in? And I was essentially mediating the whole time, right? Because I'm going back and forth, and we're trying to problem solve, and we're trying to find a way for this to work. So when I sort of moved out of the city and got a little older and wondered what I wanted to really do when I grew up, I started looking at what I was doing and where the strengths were and what I liked in that, and realized I kind of liked being that referee in the middle. So I went back to school, through U of Waterloo's Conrad Grebel program and studied conflict resolution and peace studies. And here I am. So it's sort of a weird,
Yeah.
it worked, and it's not, to me, it doesn't feel like that big of a departure. I just don't get to be on cool TV sets anymore.
Hey, we're on one right now.
Yeah, it's true. Look at that. Now I'm on the other side of the camera.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Sarah, this has been so helpful.
Thanks
You're
for having me.
amazing.
I miss you like crazy.
I miss you too. Now, are you up for a little after party on Instagram Live?
I was born for after parties.
Yeah, baby. I know that. Perfect. So thank you very, very much. We have actually, I'm just going to look through. I can see comments here.
They're better than my husband saying, "Hey, good job," because I told them to watch.
Oh, good. That's amazing.
Where we talked about the phone in the ocean.
Oh, yeah. No, we don't want him to know about that.
No.
So, somebody said, get to know, perfect name choice, Monica. Before you came on, I just told people that I finally branded my little talk show yesterday with Wayne.
It's perfect.
And I'm so happy that you were our first face on our new design and everything. Yeah, with the photo Trina took of you.
Well,
looks great.
You know what I love too is that while we're getting to know everyone else that you have on, we get to know you better too. So it's totally to get to know, because you're so sweet. It's nice getting to know you and all your quirks and cool things.
I try.
Yeah.
Audrey Milford. What is she sending? Oh, now I got to put my glasses on. Trina says, hi. What's Audrey? Audrey. Oh, I think it's hands. It looks like lemons. I can't tell what that is.
I have to get Audrey to make me some kind of marshmallow shirt. We need to think.
Oh, for sure you do. Yeah. Definitely. And Paula Weiss Montgomery, she's lovely. She's actually married. So she's married to, her husband's name is Glenn, and he sat behind me in grade 6.
Small world.
Yeah. They're super nice people. So Paula's saying better to listen more and talk less. Trina said, "Oh, Bear, you did a great job on the pick." Of the bubble pick, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Paula also says, this was awesome, Monica and Sarah. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Paula.
Yeah. Cool. So thank you, Sarah.
I'll see
Let's take a 5-minute break, and then we'll join together at the after party.
All right.
Give everybody a chance to get on.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Monica. You're awesome.
You're awesome. Bye. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with Sarah. I hope you got some good tips out of it. And don't worry, we're all in this together. And remember to reach out to friends, keep doing your Zoom calls, keep making connections, keep your world as big as you can, because I know some days it just feels small, and it's not. It's still a big world out there. You still matter. And we need you to keep on grooving. So have a wonderful day, and we will see you here again next Tuesday. Do not forget to join us on Instagram for our after party. Bye for now.